We begin this week with a shakeup on the state Supreme Court after liberal Justice Ann Walsh Bradley announced that she will not be seeking another term come 2025. And now, JR, this announcement comes almost exactly a year after liberals just regained control of the state's high court for the first time in 15 years after electing Justice Janet Protasewicz. Of course, we know a huge issue in that race was abortion. So in a sense, it looks like this issue is going to be a key issue again come this race next year.
Especially depending on what happens this fall in the presidential race. Now, I know that might seem kind of odd to think about how's the race for presidency deal with the Supreme Court kind of, but bear with me for a second. In 2017, liberals didn't really challenge Annette Ziegler, conservative justice, that spring because they're so depressed what happened in 2016 with Trump winning. They didn't realize the energy that comes from Donald Trump in the liberal base. They missed an opportunity, not maybe to beat Annette Ziegler, but at least to challenge her that spring. They won't make that mistake again. They know if Trump wins this fall, it will amplify their base, turn out their energy in a significant way. Two, if Trump were to win, it would amplify the abortion issue. Because remember, there's talk about will be a national ban. Trump saying he wants to leave to the states, but that will amplify the whole state rule. What are the rules in Wisconsin right now? Well, with a divided legislature and governor's office, it's the state Supreme Court. That makes that a much bigger deal. Now, if Biden wins, could be a different story, right? Could be more conservative energy. I'm saying that things don't happen in a vacuum in politics. What happens this fall could have a huge influence on next year. And for Brad Schimmel, former Republican Attorney General, Waukesha County Circuit Court Judge, it kind of underscores his decision to get in early. He's kind of the leading conservative candidate right now. Liberals trying to find who's going to be their standard bearer against him, but others may kick the tires. But Schimmel's out front right now raising money. He's got a platform as he's the leading contender for conservatives, and you know, it was a good move by him to get in when he did. Right,
and one name on the liberal side, someone who I talked to this week was also former state representative Chris Taylor, who is now a Dane County judge. She told me she is strongly considering getting in this race and said, quote, it was something of a dream of hers to be on the state's high court. So we'll probably see a lot more names that come out in the coming days, and she's going to be taking a hard look over the weekend. Now getting on to our next topic, the State Elections Commission voted to reject the recall attempt against Assembly Speaker Robin Vos. Now this comes after a lot of the signatures that were turned in were called into question and are now being investigated by the Racine County District Attorney. But looking at this issue ahead, you know, this isn't really going away because we already heard from organizers who support this that they're going to be trying again to recall him.
Look, there's a question that hangs over all this. What map's in place? Remember, the Supreme Court back in December said you can't use the map from 2022 anymore. It's unconstitutional. The new map used for this fall, as a provision says, it doesn't take effect until the fall. We're in no man's land. So what happens with the recall election if one is called? With this effort, it didn't matter because if you look at the district that Robin Vos had in 2022, they were short. The one he's run into, he was short. There's a third district which gets part of his territory from his old seat. The commission said, look, it's not fair. It would be right to recall him from that seat. He doesn't live there. He's never represented it. It's not his district. So there's that issue, but there's not going to go away because the backers have a second effort going forward. Now, that question, the map though, plays there. They are saying they're focusing on the 63rd Assembly District. That's when Vos is elected to in 2022. It doesn't exist this fall, though, as it's currently construed. If they turn enough signatures in that district, then what will happen? Then what do you do? Is the recall election in that seat, the new one? We don't know, and nobody's told us yet.
Now looking ahead to the presidential race, on Monday we had a visit from President Joe Biden. He was in Madison touting his new plan that seeks to cancel student loan debt for nearly more than 30 million Americans. Now the problem with this proposal is that it is likely to face legal challenges, so we'll stay tuned on that effort. Meanwhile, we also heard from former President Donald Trump, who was on the airwaves in Wisconsin again this week after he was just in Green Bay last week on Election Day, and he again called on top Republicans, including Speaker Vos and Reince Priebus, who is the chairman of the RNC host committee taking care of the convention in Milwaukee, basically calling on them saying, hey, you guys got to do more to fire Megan Wolf. She's the chief election officer that leads WEC. You know, looking more ahead to next week too, you know, of course the candidates are going to be here talking about a lot of issues, but we also have a new Marquette University Law School poll that will be coming out. What are some of the things that you're looking for, JR, in that matchup?
We saw in the spring primary, the split in the Democratic Republican base, right? Donald Trump was below 80%. 40-some thousand voters voted uninstructed Democratic primary, kind of protesting Joe Biden's policies toward the Middle East. What do we see in the poll about where the bases are at? Are they going to start coming together? And does it affect the head-to-head contest? Just watching, polls are a snapshot in time. So to me, it's the trend, not the number that matters. Are we seeing any movement? I'm not expecting a big swing. That would be kind of a shock. But is there any improvement for Joe Biden on his job approval number, on his likability? Donald Trump's kind of baked in. Can Biden improve anything? Or are we getting to the point where it's getting late early for him, as they say, that he can't really move people? It's just, this is who he is and how people feel about him.
All right, that will do it for this week. Thanks so much for joining us.